It is October of 2023, and as we move into November, we're going to have Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Christmas, and most of the electronics sold will be sold in these 2 or 3 months. So I've decided to make 3 videos: purchase considerations for a PC, purchase considerations of a Chromebook, and purchase considerations for your Apple device. And that is this video, purchase considerations for your Apple device. I'll put the link down below for the other 2 that have already been made. I'm Ron Brown with Tech for Senior, where we make videos to help seniors understand technology and help with their health. Everyone on staff at Tech for Senior is a volunteer, so we sure appreciate that like and subscribe. It really helps the channel. So there are 3 things that you need to know before purchasing your Apple device. The first is Apple makes all their own software and hardware. So unlike in the PC market where you might have ASUS, ℙ𝕝𝕝𝕗, Dell, in the Apple world, only Apple makes and sells their hardware and software. So you will be buying your Apple device from an Apple store. The second thing you need to know is that unlike PCs and other makers that have a variety of chips, you've probably heard about i3, i5, i7, i9. Apple makes their own chip, and it's real easy to remember. It's M1, M2, and M3. And yes, M1 was the first, and M3 is the latest. So very simple, M1, M2, M3. One of the things you have to be careful about is that was not always the case. And in the past, Intel has made some chips for the Apple devices. Now, all the modern lineup that they have now all has their modern chips in it. So if you are purchasing an older device, maybe a refurbished device, please make sure that it does not have one of the Intel chips in it, because this is certainly going to be a problem as we move forward with the Apple software. So the third thing you need to know about Apple devices is that the Apple software really doesn't like to play with other software. So if you are going to purchase an Apple device, it's really important that you, for best results, that you stick within the Apple group of devices. So let's look at the most popular Apple device, and that, of course, is the iPhone. Now, if you live in the United States, about 67% of all new phones last month were iPhones. And I read an article the other day that said, is there a future for Android? Because the sales of iPhone goes up steadily. And whatever the reason, it's not a criticism, Americans just love their iPhones. Now, if you look at other parts of the world, such as Europe, Southeast Asia, India, in those countries, about 1/3 of the sales of new phones are iPhones. But for some, it's not a criticism, but for some reason in the United States, Americans love iPhones, which means when we're talking and giving seminars, we need to know that roughly 2/3 of the audience is going to have an iPhone. So yes, they are very popular. And that leads me into the first device that you might want to add to your iPhone, and that is an iPad. Now, iPads have been around for a very long time. They're sold worldwide. They're easily configurable. They're sold for under $1,000, and they're great. And they will actually provide most of the computer needs for most people. Now, you're going to say, hey, it's a tablet. I don't want a tablet. I want something with a keyboard. Well, you can add a keyboard to an iPad, click it in, and away you go. There's third parties that make those. Also, if you want a bigger monitor, you can plug a big monitor into your iPad. So I think that if you're looking for another device other than your phone, I think you should consider an iPad as your first choice. Now, you may also want to consider another device made by Apple called the Mac Mini. Now, in the prior 2 videos that I made, we talked about the NUC, N-U-C PC, which again is a device in which you plug peripherals into. When we did the Chromebook video, we talked about Chrome boxes. Again, the same idea. Both those 2 devices not that popular. But the Mac Mini is the same idea. It is a box in which the Mac software runs. You can configure it to different processors and speed and RAM, etc. And you can plug all your own peripheral devices into it. These sell for starting under $800, so you can get a great machine for under $1,000 with all the hardware and software. I have a good friend, Jim Gould, who has a very popular show called The Button Show on Sunday with his wife, Chris, and he has a studio and runs all his production studio broadcasting equipment on a Mac Mini. So they are great machines, and again, it is easy to get into the Apple environment for under $1,000 because you're going to add your own monitor, keyboards, and a mouse to this as you just plug it into the device. Now, you may be considering purchasing an Apple laptop, and for this you have basically two choices. You have a MacBook Air, which starts at about $1,000 and is customizable to some degree, and you have a MacBook Pro, which starts at around $1,300 US and is very customizable. So you have these two machines, so what's the difference and which one should you choose? Well, a MacBook Air, I'm not going to say is an entry-level machine, but it would be more for a student. It is somewhat customizable. The MacBook Pro is an amazing machine. It's a little more money and starts around $1,300, but is very customizable, again, depending on how much RAM, the size of the screen, and all the things that you want to incorporate in that. I'm not going to go into all the specifics of that because that's on the Apple website and you can go there and look at the pricing. However, you should really understand the difference between these two machines. And I have a personal preference for you. So here's my tip. This summer, I was tasked with buying my daughter an Apple laptop. I did a lot of research on this and eventually chose to buy her the MacBook Pro. She's in the education field and really enjoys it and really enjoys her computer. When I was researching the two, I went to Best Buy and I actually had both in my hand. I had the MacBook Air and the MacBook Pro, and I actually held them, one in my right hand and one in my left hand. And it was quite obvious that the MacBook Pro was a different machine. It was much heavier. You could feel that it was just a quality build as compared to the MacBook Air. So these are very different machines. Also, if you upgrade the MacBook Air to the same specifications that you have with the MacBook Pro, then you're pretty darn close to the MacBook Pro pricing. Now, when I asked my daughter if she had a choice, she said she'd heard a lot of problems at their school with the MacBook Airs, particularly with the battery capacity. I said, "How are you doing?" She said, "Great." I said, "Well, how's the battery working out for your MacBook Pro?" She says, "I use it all week long and hardly ever have to charge it." Now, her husband at the same time bought a MacBook Air, and he has yet to get a whole day through without charging it. So he's very unhappy with it. So these machines are quite different. Take them, look at them, feel them. If you're going to budget out 5 to 7 years for this purchase, both machines are excellent machines and are going to last you for a very long time. I think if you budget out for 5 to 7 years, there's very little difference in price. So I would encourage you to look at the MacBook Pro. I think you're going to be more happy. It's more of a versatile machine, and certainly the battery life is much better. So those of you who don't want a mobile device will be happy with Apple's recent announcement of their new iMac line with the M3 chip. This is really exciting and will work so well with your iPhone. Now, the iMac 24-inch is a all-in-one device. Yes, it's got all the components in the screen in the top part of the monitor. This now will come in 7 colors and has gone from the M1 chip to their new M3 chip. This was just announced this week. This is going to be 2.5 times faster, particularly for those of you who had the old Intel processors. This is indeed a great upgrade and will provide amazing results, particularly in video editing and gaming. It will come with a 1080p FaceTime camera, along with 6 internal speakers and a professional recording microphone. This will make it easy for good communication through software such as Zoom. It, of course, offers seamless integration with your iPhone, so it makes it pair very well with this. So if you scan a device on your iPhone, it will automatically appear on your iMac. You can also make calls from your iMac through your phone. And the price will be starting for the new version of this at $12.99 US and will be able to be ordered as we speak. This is certainly a device you'll want to look at in your Apple line of devices. So you'll want to round out your Apple experience with an Apple Watch, and I'll put the link below for some of the videos I've made about Apple Watches. So in summary, Apple makes great equipment, they have great software, and enormous success. Yes, they are more expensive, but I think you're getting good quality and longevity in your purchase. The only advice I can give you is if you want to make sure that all these devices work well, try to stay within the Apple line of devices, and you'll find that the communication and how they all communicate and work together will be much better for you. It's Ron Brown with Tech for Senior. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Until we see you again, have a great day.